Welcome to In Focus. I'm your host, Enrique Medina. Today, we have a panel of students from CSUF's very own Cinema and Television Arts Production 2 class. Through this production class, these students, along with their classmates, created short films which will be screening at this year's Newport Beach Film Festival on October 15th. Without further ado, welcome to the show. So first, just to start off, can each of you just give me a brief introduction of who you guys are and also the film that you guys actually produced?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Yvette Gonzalez, writer and director of my short film Pick Me Up.
I'm Tammy Hua. I'm the writer and director of Heaven is in Space.
I'm Dalan, and I'm the writer and director of Callista.
And I'm Daniel Lomboy, and I'm the writer and director of When a Honeybee Stings.
Awesome. First and foremost, for those students, for those people who are a little bit more curious about the Production 2 class itself, can you guys give us a little bit of background about what the class is and what it offers?
It offers in experience of how to make a film. You first have to get selected, and then you could either be a director or a producer, and then you have a whole semester to make a film and put it out to a festival.
Awesome. This one goes out. Do any of you want to add anything else?
Actually, I do want to add to that.
Awesome.
I think I have a particular special semester with this class because unlike everyone here, I had to do it in one full semester instead of having a break to have everything done for pre-production. So actually how they did it was how you had to go ahead and find your own crew, whether it just be your classmates outside of the class, but I had to interview everyone inside the class itself that same day when I got chosen. And that was my crew that same day. And so we started pre-production the beginning of the semester.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next thing I wanted to ask all of you, without giving too much away from each of your individual projects, can you guys just tell us a little bit about what it's about?
Pick Me Up is a story purely based around family and support, highlighting the importance of family presence, the importance of being there for your kids and during struggle and accomplishments.
I'd say for my film, it takes inspiration from classic teen rom-coms. It's about two high school students who unexpectedly become friends, but then their new friendship actually gets tested once a past tragedy comes to light. So that's pretty much the synopsis of mine.
Mine is a horror short film, and it's about a father and a daughter. And the daughter, when she loses control, unleashes her demonic powers.
And then When a Honeybee Stings is about the relationship of a mother who tries to fix her relationship with her son, but something traumatic in the past happened where it kind of gets in the way of that. And it's sort of more of a look deeper into your character type film.
Awesome. Yeah. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you had mentioned something along the lines that you guys get a budget for this class to actually create your short films. Yeah.
Yeah. We get I think $10,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah, from the school. Yeah.
Given that, that's absolutely fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit more insight, all four of you, as far as the filming process from beginning to end, especially given that budget?
You're given a budget, and you kind of have to just start talking to your producer. Sometimes you'll have one, sometimes you'll have two. Right when you go into it, you got to start planning on locations. You have to go location scouting with your producer. You have to figure out if it's even viable for the amount of money you want to do, for how many days you want to be shooting. We have about 2 weekends for principal shooting, and then we have pickup dates, which are just dates where you have to, if you need to reshoot something, if things didn't go as planned, which a lot of the time it does, you have to account for those days too. So that's kind of the beginning process, really figuring out what money will go where for acting, for the actors and locations, for equipment especially. Yeah.
Do you guys want to add maybe anything more specific to your individual projects about the process?
For my film, so it was split up into pre-production, production, then post-production. And when we got that budget and we found out that it was $10,000, we were just like Yvette said, it was you kind of have to plan where that money is going to go towards the most. And when Honeybee Stings, we were looking into getting a that had a lot of production design in it. And we found this one particular location. It was an apartment complex. So it had its character and whatnot. And something risky that we did, which I honestly don't recommend, is we scrapped the idea of having a pickup date. So essentially, we were going into production with the idea that we were not gonna have a pickup shoots, just to get that location, and that's where we put our money into. You kind of just have to know it like that, yeah.
Ryan and Tammy, do you guys want to add anything else, maybe to your process?
Well, you have to talk to your producer to stay within your budget, because I kind of went a little bit over. But over the summer, I was trying to raise, you're kind of encouraged to raise a little bit more money. I know I'm working on this one project, and the director raised about like $900, I think, as of right now. So over the summer, I worked to earn like $1,000, and I put that into my film. But yeah, it's better to work or crowdfund to earn extra money for a better quality film.
I think one major difficulty about like the pre-production process is that it is reimbursement based. Mm-hmm. And as the producer, you're in charge of like not just the logistics, but that includes the finances. And it's less risky having like everybody pay for their own individual departments. So a lot of times it's the producer like paying for it and then like waiting to get reimbursed, and then making sure that like they can still afford to pay for future things like throughout production as well. So that's just something that was like something you really need to be careful with during this class. So, yeah.
Right.
Tammy knows this, but because she was on my crew too, like each of us contributed $200 per of us.
Yeah,
and
that was
That's crazy.
yeah,
that's another thing.
we didn't do any fundraising, so we just had like the whole crew kind of just come together, and we all signed contracts so that we made sure that we got our reimbursements, even though when we did get our reimbursements, it wasn't the full $200. But we got our money somewhat back, and we got the film made. So
that's just the risk of like taking this class and like making the film. So
$10K seems a lot, but when it comes down to it, I mean, production takes so much time, especially when things don't go right during production, and that's kind of crazy how Daniel did his, because you do need to have sometimes like a pickup date for when times just don't work for you, and you gotta account for those money, like I said, you gotta account for those days too, money-wise. So
Fix it in post.
that's I guess so.
Oh god. And each of you are mentioning as far as the challenges that you guys faced with the budget. Were there any other challenges that were just very hard to deal with during the filmmaking process? If so, what challenges did you guys face?
I think as a director, you need to have an answer right away, because everyone wants to know what you want, and you can't really think about it. You just have to go, because if you kind of dwell on it, it's just going to delay the process of making the film.
That's true. If you have any like questions, if you're like questioning something, it shows kind of weakness as a director, but at the same time, it's nice to expose that so you can work on it too as a team. But from your question, I think in my film specifically, we shot at COVID times, so that was a big struggle for us. And masks, everything, everybody had to be like away from each other for a certain distance, and you had to be tested. Like each time that we had to film, we always had to show a negative test. And there's a COVID coordinator. I don't know if that was still a job right now, but yeah, COVID for me.
I mean, directing is kind of a scary aspect, especially since most of us, at least like in my experience, I just came out of beginning production courses like 325. I'm sure a lot of people start off with that, and I did directing courses, but then you kind of get jumped into this huge production, taking care of all of these things that people are coming up to you, production design, then you have your DP, and then you gotta like make a bunch of like appointments to work with them like separately. And I think one of the things that I struggled with was having committed actors like saying that they were gonna come in, and they're not being paid. And you kind of just rely on them. If they're going to show up, they're going to show up. And if they don't, you have to make a choice on the spot and try to find something brand new that day. Like, we had our PA be one of our actors. That's kind of like not an essential character in my story, but the one where I was hoping for the most to be like the most fun. And we kind of just did it on the spot, and that was kind of crazy. We also had to pay our parent actors because that was a whole thing. I'll just say that my dad and my cinematographer's mom were the parents for my principal shooting weekend, and we couldn't use any of that footage. So we had to pay parent actors for the pickup dates and get them in, and we only had 1 day to shoot with them. So you are going to come up as a director with so many like stressful situations, and you're going to want to be this creative bulldozer, but you have to remember that, you know, we're all human beings and we're trying to figure out a solution as best as we can. So, because we're on a timeline. We're on from a 12-hour shift, and everyone's tired, and, you know, things come up, and yeah, that's kind of one of the big challenges being on production.
Next thing I wanted to ask all of you, I know we've been talking a little bit more about the challenges, a little bit more of the stuff that's a little bit negative. Let's kind of shed some positive light here. Can you guys tell me a little bit more about each of your favorite day on set, or maybe if you guys had like a favorite memory in the filmmaking process for each of your projects?
If you don't mind, I'll go first, guys. I mentioned this before, but I had my dad and my cinematographer's mom on set, and, you know, we couldn't use them because they weren't actors. They gave it their all, and we were so appreciative for them, but we couldn't use them. So when we actually found the parents, I myself, as, you know, this first-time director kind of doing this huge production, I was pretty nervous about even directing the parents because I'm pretty sure they've had more experience, and it was just like a big thing for me. And one of the things that my professor taught me was creating connections and trying to figure out what kind of person they are before you even try to make them into a whole different kind of person. So what I did was I gathered my family, my fake family, together. I had 3 siblings and 2 parents. And we did an exercise of just trying to get to know each other. And because my film is so family oriented, it was crucial for me to figure out like their own memories with their siblings and their own family like experiences. So I went around the circle and I asked them like, what were your favorite moments with your siblings? What were your worst favorite moments with your siblings? And by the end of it, we were like tearing up. And I found like my family that I was gonna have on set. And when I was able to like talk to them about like what I wanted them to do, it came natural. And it was probably one of my favorite days on set because after all that like struggle trying to get everything together, like they brought what I needed that day. So, and you can see that on screen too. So it was awesome to see that. Yeah.
For me, our favorite day of shooting was definitely, I'm just gonna refer it to it as the night scene because like, I mean, no one's like seen it yet, so it's like, it's hard to explain what happened, but it was just a really great day because throughout production, one thing my crew struggled with was finding additional help, like within the crew, because in the class itself, it's only 10 students. And even though like everyone is responsible for their own department, 10 students isn't a lot and like sometimes isn't enough for like an entire production. And so this one day, after having had help from the film and media, the FMAA club on campus, I was able to get additional PAs and additional help. And because of that, it made production flow so smoothly. And also the scene that we were shooting was also like, I'm gonna say like the most wholesome scene within the whole film. And like, I just remember the first take we did, I called cut and like the entire crew was like crowded around the monitor. And then like, once I called cut, everyone just went like, ah! like everyone just like was like so happy. Like, I don't know, it was just a really great day. That was the best day from production.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My favorite scene or day that we shot was the basement scene. We had to shoot there for like 2 or 3 days. But the first day, we had to set up the design, the production design. And so in the scene, there's like a bed, and then the whole wall is filled with like Bible pages, and there's like candles to make it look spooky. And the place where we rented it out, they didn't even know what we were doing. And then the host went downstairs and saw like the whole like demonic ritual, and then they kind of freaked out. They're like, what are you guys shooting here? And then, yeah, that was my favorite scene. And then when we were shooting there was like it was scary because we shot at night, and then I don't know the way even though it's fake and we made it, we're still scared. So
That's cool.
that's my favorite part.
My favorite scene or day, kind of have to jump to what you said, Yvette. It's very similar in terms of the way an actor like performs and like just that aspect of things. I did an exercise very similar to my actors, where I had to establish like their relationship and whatnot, and all the practice and exercises that we did. It took a while for them to get that mother and son bond, and there was a time where our lead actress, she had to go to a room. She waited, I think, 3 to 5 minutes, and it's quite a long time, and we're kind of just like waiting as a crew, and we're just like, what is she doing in there? What is she doing in there? And then at the end of it, she just came out of the bedroom. She's crying. She's like, I'm ready to go. And then it was just like peak performance that I saw from the actress, and I think it's just like one of those things, like, you know, hard work kind of pays off type thing, and like money shots, you know, essentially, like when you see that tear drop and whatnot. Because my film is a little more on the like emotional side of things, and when I'm like watching it in the screen, I'm just like thinking back, like, damn, that's exactly what I wanted, you know. And I think that right there is perfect, you know, seeing it come to life, basically. Yeah.
Going back to the beginning process for each of you and creating each of your own individual films, can you guys tell me a little bit more about maybe what inspired you to pursue each of your individual projects?
I wasn't even going to submit a script. I was too scared, and I had written a bunch of other things that weren't even close to what I actually filmed. They were romance and science fiction, something that was like what I'm used to. And at the time, I was going through really crazy hardship with my family. And even though these aren't like true events that happened in the film, they're heavily inspired by looking retrospectively at my childhood, because it is based off like around a little girl, a little 15-year-old girl in a family, same kind of way as mine, with 2 older siblings and 2 working parents, and it gets hard, and she's kind of navigating through her way and through her family struggle. And that's kind of like what it was in my house for a really long time. And at the time when I wrote it, I felt what I felt in those moments where we were all struggling, and it kind of just, it came out. And I submitted it late too, and I wasn't even planning to get picked, and I'm so grateful that I did, because now I have this opportunity to do so, and for my family to see. So yeah.
For mine, I just say, like, I just really wanted to take advantage of the class itself, and because like it is one of the only classes where it's the closest you can get to a professional production. You know, you're given like a cinema grade camera, you're given like a crew to work with, you're given like assistance from your professor, and like a budget. So it's like, this is like my opportunity to like really like test myself as a filmmaker, like while enrolled here. And so that was like why I really wanted to take the class. And then like for the movie itself, I just like, I mean, I grew up on like watching those like cheesy high school rom-coms, and I was like, you know, why not make one of my own? So
I wrote Callista because I wanted to write something that was challenging to create, but also fun at the same time. So I feel like horror was the best pick. And I also wrote it in a way where if I were to watch it with my family, we would all have a good time. And it worked, because I played it at my family party a couple months ago, and we were all just like laughing and getting scared, and yeah, I accomplished what I wanted.
Nice. And then for me, so this is my second production 2 film, and since I started in production 1, ever since production 1, I kept submitting like scripts and whatnot to get my script chosen for production 2. It didn't get chosen for that first time. I was a production designer, and this time around I kept on submitting until it did. And I was like, I want to direct, you know, like this is my passion, this is what I want to do in life. And so when I got chosen, I just wanted to be something meaningful and special to me. So it's just you know, a piece that I wanted to be about like my character, but also something where a lot of people can relate to. So essentially something about the moral is like where you dig deep into your own character, like not necessarily the physical and tangible things that you see on screen that's happening, but think more so about like what that main character is thinking about and whatnot. And that's sort of the message that I want to convey to like the audience. You know, like everyone is flawed. You know, we all have bad things that we did in the past, that no matter like what happens, no matter how we try to fix things, even though things are looking good, at the same time, there's always that little thing that's like creeping up on you and it's always going to be part of your character. And that's something I wanted to like shed light on, you know, as a moral. Yeah.
Awesome. Really quickly, before we wrap up, last thing I wanted to ask each and every one of you, what does it mean to have your film actually be featured at the Newport Beach Film Festival? And also, last thing after that, what do you hope people take away from your individual films?
I think to everyone here, it is awesome to have something that you created, took so much time and stress and love into, and have it for everyone to see. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment. Something I didn't think that would happen right after like college, because we're all graduates, and to have this like just right after it ended, it's just like one little celebratory thing that we did that we can just think of, and it's awesome. And what I hope people take away from my film, at least, is just for them to look into their own families and kind of pick apart little pieces that I think connect to all of us in some similar way, you know. It's kind of what I wrote it for, you know, for people to look at it and think, oh man, like I do that with my sister all the time, or like me and my brother, we have those conversations all the time, or man, I know what it's like to struggle and see your parents just being there makes you smile. And that's kind of what I really wanted, at least like a little girl to see, you know. Yeah.
For me, I think like it means so much that it's getting screened at Newport Beach, just because like Yvette said, like these films like took a lot of hard work and a lot of stressful days like from like our entire crews, and I think like to be able to have the opportunity for like all our hard work to go up on a big screen and like at like a pretty large festival as well is like, you know, it's, in my opinion, it's well deserved. It's like it's the appreciation that like all our hard work deserves. And I think, yeah, and I just, the takeaway, I would say I want people to see like, you know, how well student filmmakers, like how great of stuff student filmmakers can make, even though, you know, might have a small budget, we might have like a small crew, but like we could still like make something pretty amazing despite that.
I think it's a big deal to get into this festival, especially for us, because I think this is our first festivals. Is that right for everyone?
It's mine, yeah.
Yeah, it's my first film festival, and just seeing your work being appreciated and up in the big screen and with your name on the credits like that, it's a lot. And I hope when people watch my film, they just have a good time and enjoy a great horror short film.
And for me, since my film is about almost 4 years old now, I think I want to say it's special to me still that like, even though it's a bit older, it's kind of like a nice thing for the cast and crew to be a part of the Newport Beach Film Festival, because that's something that we missed out on since the festivals were kind of on a pause after, like, you know, with COVID and everything. But yeah, to be a part of Newport Beach Film Festival is kind of an honor, I'd say. It's one of the big ones. And then a takeaway from the film, I'd say, kind of like what Tammy said, you can make a lot with such a small little budget, and it's all about the connections and experiences you make on set that matters most, in my opinion, because it's this film and this film like will lead to future projects, and it's kind of like a catalyst, I'd say, for a lot of people. And yeah, I'd just say take that risk and submit that script, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. The future of filmmaking is extremely bright. Thank you for joining us to discuss CSUF's very own student-made short films. We thank you, Yvette, Tammy, Daniel, and Ryan for joining us and sharing a little bit more about your filmmaking journey with us. We wish all of you the very best, at the Newport Beach Film Festival later this month. Until next time, I'm Enrique Medina. This has been In Focus.